Welcome to Unbiased Recovery, sponsored by Meta Addiction Treatment. I'm Ed LePage.
I'm Casey Hurley.
And I am Aristotle Nikolaou.
Oh, welcome.
Thank you. Thought you were going to introduce me.
No. You have to do that yourself.
All right.
We were going to call you the Sauce Boss, but...
Okay. That's great.
Welcome.
Thanks for coming on.
Thanks for having me, boys.
Yeah.
So, Ari is a man in long-term recovery. How long you been in recovery?
17 years, November 20th.
That's
a lot.
a long time.
Fucking
Yeah.
long. That's a long time.
Yeah.
I'm trying to think of how old I was. I'm not good at math.
We've already established that this podcast is not good with dates and math.
And math.
We're not good at those things.
I was young, though. I was very young. You're
Some
old.
of us are pretty good at staying
Thanks.
sober.
Thanks.
Yeah, some of us are not. Yeah. You know, it's like this side is not as good at it. You guys are more better.
The middle seems to be a little bit better.
The best. Yeah, you put the best in the middle.
No.
Yeah.
So, how old were you when you got sober?
There's more math.
Well, how old are you?
I can
Math
do this.
again.
I can do this. I believe I was
24?
23 or 24. Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
I was 24. How old are you?
I am
I'm
24.
32 and a half.
32 and a half.
Yeah.
In his 30s, and he still says a half year.
I was just thinking that. That's what my kids say when they talk about how old they are.
Yeah, I mean, you know, I'm just trying to be me, man. Just be
Yeah.
myself, Ari.
That's great.
Yeah, thanks.
Vest and all.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, how long had you been trying to get sober before you ultimately did?
I want to say the first time I went into detox might have been, 99 or 2000. But I'd always been trying to kind of stop on my own.
Like rein it in? type
Oh,
of-
absolutely. Many, many, many times.
Home detox.
Yeah, but I didn't really know what
Yeah.
detoxing was.
Well, I didn't know what sobriety was. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
I thought, like, if I... and a lot of people can do this, but I can't. Like, if I could just smoke weed, or if I could, like, casually have a couple of beers, like,
Right.
had I been able to do that, my life would have been better, but when I tried to do that, I couldn't do that.
Yeah,
I thought I was
yeah.
going to grow out of it. Literally.
Yeah.
I thought one day I'm just going to grow up and I'm
Like,
not
get
going to...
taller?
Is that a possibility? Do you know when that stopped? Because I'm really hoping...
Well,
that-
it stopped for you a while ago.
It stopped
getting
me in
tall.
8th grade. Yeah. But I literally thought I was just going to grow out of it one day. That, like, one day I was going to stop wanting to, like, be a heroin addict because I was at a certain age.
Well, I mean, I did stop wanting to be a heroin addict.
Well, yeah. I mean, I didn't want to anymore, but, like, that was just my... I don't know. That was the thought I had, is that one day I'm just going to grow up and then this won't be real anymore.
For me, I was able at certain times, like early on, before I was hardcore into the opiates, I was able to reel it in and control it. Whether it was, there was a certain point where me and a bunch of my friends, we were all trying to save money for a spring break vacation, and during that time, I only smoked like very little marijuana.
Yep.
And was, doing supplements and going to the gym and trying to just stay
swole.
focused. Exactly, dude.
Yeah.
And working, 3 different jobs.
Yeah.
And I knew, here's the thing. I knew I'm doing this until we go away on spring break, and that's when we're bringing everything, and I can just...
Yeah.
Yeah, you can go get fucked up.
You
then.
get ready for the
wrecked.
party.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Well, and like at
Saving
the
up.
same time, right? Like it's still that same like sort of addict mind, right? Where it's like I'm gonna work a ton.
Yep.
I'm gonna get as big as possible. Like
Yep.
I'm gonna feed my ego.
Yep.
Yeah.
So that like I can be okay. Like no wonder you're able to get through it.
Right.
Before the opiates really took hold.
Yeah. Yeah.
I think most addicts have those sort of experiences.
Yeah, I did the same thing. I went to Florida, got on steroids, tanned all the time, I got a face tattoo.
Yeah.
I was like, Mom, I'm cured. Everything's good now.
I thought that was just your sideburn growing.
No. That's
The K.
yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Special K.
Pretty gangster.
Yeah, it's my mom's initial.
Just one of them.
just the first one. You know what I mean?
You didn't want to do like first name, middle name, last name?
I was thinking about it. I almost got something right here.
What were you going to get?
I don't know. I was just thinking
Teardrop?
about it. I was going to get a K. Like maybe a small K right there. Do you think that would have been cool? Be honest.
I think it would have been amazing. It would have been amazing, dude. Perfect.
Yeah.
No, but so you like tell that story, right, of being able to rein it in.
Yeah.
And I think like a lot of people go into treatment having had those same experiences and try to use that experience as the reason why they don't actually need to really enter into recovery. Because they think like, I created that thing for myself once. I can just manifest that again.
Right.
You know?
Right.
Keeps us sick a lot of times, those experiences.
Yeah. Geez, I'm thinking the first time I went into detox, I didn't even know which way was up, what was going on. Like, I didn't ask to go in. A family member, friend, however, you really want to call it, at the time, who was just as bad as I was, kind of, to a certain extent, used me as his scapegoat. Do you know what I mean?
Okay.
To kind of keep the attention
Like,
off of him.
Look at that dude over
And
there.
he went to my parents and was
man.
like, he's got to get better. I'm going to get him into detox, so I'm going to help him. A friend of mine has already been. This is what it looks like. And he kind of prepped me for it.
Did an intervention so that he didn't have to go to treatment.
To some extent, yeah. Yeah. And,
Dodged a bullet.
but honestly, I mean, if he hadn't done that, I don't know where I would be or how soon after, or you know what I mean?
Yeah, when I first...
whether his intentions, don't cut me off, whether his intentions, I'm kidding, whether his,
But really.
Don't ever do it again.
whether his intentions were pure or not, I don't know, but either way, like in the end, it did something,
Yeah, that like seed was kind of planted.
Well, I'm sure you're fucking pissed at the time about it, but today you can reflect back on it with that sort of clarity.
Yeah, absolutely. And again, I was petrified, dude. Like, none of my friends, we all were partying the same. No one had ever been to detox before. I didn't know what to expect, and he was prepping me on it, and he was connected with a lot of different people and had, certain friends, and he was giving me pictures of specific people to bring to detox. And he's like, if anyone
remember you told me
he's
that.
like, if anyone says anything, just show him this picture. And I'm like, dude, like, and I'm thinking, is this like jail? What's going on?
Gonna get
Like,
shook down?
you can say this person's name. If anyone bothers you, don't worry about it. And I'm like,
You're like, where am I going?
I legit was petrified.
Going to state prison?
Petrified.
Treatment is not like that,
Dude,
folks.
no. And I was going to Baldpate. Baldpate was a nice place, but again, I was just petrified going in there. And, like I was saying earlier, I'm super shy. I just kept my mouth shut, and they just said, "Okay, here are your medications. These are when your groups are," and shuffle down the group and sit in the room, and literally just not knowing what to do. So I tried to participate a little bit.
But you have like no idea what's...
No, I didn't know anything. I was learning about AA and NA and all the different meetings and this and that, and I was only in there for like maximum 4 days.
Yeah.
Like, I need to get out of here.
Yeah, and now I'm like, I leave, and I'm like, okay, so now what?
Yeah, there's a big gap right there. I mean, also like in our understanding of what detox is going to be, I thought I was going to go to detox and be strapped to a hospital bed. Not
really?
Not literally strapped, but like confined to a bed
like
with
locked.
IVs coming out of me and like our heart monitor in the background going beep, 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 beep.
Yeah.
Like when I got there and like I could actually move around.
They're
I was
like, go to
pretty
your
surprised.
bed. You're like, what do you mean?
I'm like, aren't you going to wheelchair me there?
I'm very sick. When they asked me, they're like, do you want to go to aftercare? And I was like, what is that? I thought this was it. I just did this, and then I'm good, right? And they're like, no.
I'm
And
cured.
that's like we were talking about the recovery advocate thing. Like even someone they'll like, and they have that now as like a recovery
Recovery
coach.
navigators.
Or recovery coaches or something, because like you go in there, but the first time you have literally no idea what's going on.
Yep.
You don't know like your ass from your elbow, and you're just like lost. Depending on the place, but.
Yeah, I feel like back then, too, like, no one was trying to push me to go anywhere after.
Yeah.
There was, I was in there for 3 days, 4 days, and they're like, okay, good luck. And I'm like, oh, what the fuck do I do?
Yeah.
I go home and...
Well, treatment's come a lot a long way in the last couple decades.
Yeah, no,
you know?
absolutely. And I just remember going home, and my father was happy that I'm home, and he's like, "Oh, you how do you feel?" I'm like, "Yeah, I feel good." He's like, "All right, grab a beer, come, hang out with me."
A bunch of my friends would do that.
You know,
like, you want a beer?
like,
Good job. And I'm like,
I didn't know, and
You're like, yes.
yeah, dude, I didn't know. I didn't drink a lot.
Yeah.
I didn't really drink at all.
Yeah.
So, and my father didn't think, and
Well, you didn't go there for alcohol.
no.
yeah. It's like I thought I had a specific problem with a specific drug.
Dude,
Well, and
when-
some people do. And like, let's. Our three stories are not all consuming. Like, we don't represent everybody that has an opiate addiction.
No.
Right. Yeah, I mean, it was to the point that I remember the first day we got to Ballpate was a Sunday, right? And the lady's like, "Oh, well, there's a meeting up on the hill, and your mom can come if she'd like to." And I'm like, "All right," I'm like, "Ma, you want to come?" Because I'm petrified. And she comes, and this is the first time I'm in a meeting, beginning of the meeting. Everyone's going around the room and introducing themselves. "Hi, I'm an addict. Hi, I'm an alcoholic." And I'm like, "Addict?" I'm like, "I'm not a fucking addict." Like, I thought of addict as like a crackhead.
Yeah.
And I'm like, and it came to me, and I'm like, "Hi, my name's Ari. I'm addicted to pills." And like everyone like turned and looked at me, and I'm like, "Did I say the wrong thing?"
did it
like
wrong.
I didn't know what. Like,
I didn't do it right.
dude. I didn't know what to say.
Yeah,
you know
yeah.
what I mean?
I done did it wrong.
Like
Yeah.
there was that much of just not having any idea. And then obviously, you go through that over the next couple of years, in and out, and then you learn the lingo in the game, and I'm going in and out of AA meetings and NA meetings, and,
I think that's something that we forget, though, too, is like when we get, like, working in the addiction treatment field, like when we get a first-time client, right? It's intimidating, right?
Yeah.
Because, like, you're coming into this, like, new system, you have no idea, like... I knew somebody recently, like an older gentleman that was going into like a very nice detox down in Connecticut, and he's like, "Am I gonna need to bring like protection money? Am I gonna need to bring extra cigarettes to keep the people away?" And it's like, well, dude,
no.
you're not going to jail.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You're going to like a really nice
Yeah.
place. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
But people have no idea.
yeah. I mean, most people don't. You know what I mean?
It's like riddled with fear. I remember like one of the first like programs I went to down in Florida, and I was like an absolute disaster mess, like on the plane, just like shaking, riddled with fear, like crying, like petrified. You know what I mean? I had no idea what I was doing. I thought I was just gonna be like stuck down there forever, and
Your typical Saturday night.
it's typical Saturday Florida night, But yeah, it's
Was that the whole story?
what, just being riddled with fear.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, I was just talking about how
okay.
scary it is
I-
going to treatment.
it just kinda,
I
like-
mean, I could tell you.
It
some
sort of like
more,
fell off a cliff.
Yeah, I mean, I was just saying, I'm very scared. I'm a scared little guy.
Well,
What are you gonna do?
some awkward.
Do you want more of that story?
No, not really.
The plane landed. I got off. I went to treatment. Still scared. Cried more.
More crying.
Yeah, more crying.
I remember being in detox, running up and down the hallway crying. So there's crying. There's a lot
Seriously?
of crying. Oh yeah, like literally,
Like sprint crying.
like pretty much. Like I was in a group. All of a sudden, like this wave of anxiety came over me.
Yeah.
I felt like I didn't know what to do because
Yeah.
I didn't know what to do.
Yeah.
I got up, got out of there because like I was a kid in detox that like I really, really wanted to get better.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, I think detox is a mixed bag, right? The further on you get in the treatment, like, cycle for somebody, like, not, like, in and out of treatment, but, like, in the continuum of
process.
care,
Yeah,
right?
yeah,
in the
yeah.
process, the more likely that person wants to be in treatment, right?
They're
But
showing the
detox-
willingness.
Yeah. I mean, there's a certain amount of willingness to detox, and then,
Right.
and inpatient rehab, and
Yeah.
then outpatient, so on and so forth. But like, I really wanted to be there, and I remember getting up out of this group, running down the hallway, crying, and then this like really, I can still picture it, like really sweet, like what are they, like the nurses' assistants, right?
Yeah.
Just like came over and like sort of like put her arm around me, and like I sat down, and I was just like, I don't know what to do.
Yeah.
I'm like absolutely terrified because I had no idea what to do.
Yeah. I think like I mean I personally lose touch with that sometimes. Like I mean even with me going to like treatment so many times, and then like I'll be so desperate to just get a bed or desperate to like get into any place, and then like as soon as it happens, like I lose all gratitude, or at least in the past.
Yeah.
But then like it's like hard to remember like how fearful you are when you first go into treatment when you haven't
Yeah.
Done it in a while.
I think it's probably enough about us. Back to Ari.
No, I'm just rethinking all the different times going into treatment, going into detox, and oh yeah, not a fun experience.
No, it's not, but it can be a life-changing experience, right?
Without a doubt.
It's the first step, really, in
Yeah.
allowing ourselves to have the necessary change, whatever that's going to look like for each individual, is oftentimes entering into a detox.
Right. Right.
No two are the same, but like most of them offer, relatively similar, groups and, medication protocols that are allowing us to get physically clean off of the substance that we're using. What did it sort of look like the degree of willingness that it took for you, like once it was actually time to like engage in further treatment and, ultimately like get clean and stay clean?
Interesting. So I think in the beginning, I was probably a lot more willing to do anything.
Like when you that first time going to
After
Baldpate.
the first time.
Okay.
The second time going into Baldpate.
Yeah.
So I went there twice, then I went, I think, to NORCAP a couple times. A couple like IOP, PHPs in between, and therapists, psychiatrists. But my second time back at Baldpate, I was determined to try my hardest at staying sober. And there was another kid in there that kind of shared the same idea as me, and he had been, in and out of, detoxes and treatments for a while. And so me and him kind of connected, and we would sit down together all the time and be like, okay, so we really got to try our asses off. And, I'm like, all right, well, I started praying, I know that's what they say sometimes. So I've been praying, and, and he's like, all right, well, I've been doing this. And this is while we're in detox, right? And this was actually my longest stay in detox. I was there for like 10 days, which was very weird for an opioid
detox.
That's long.
That's a longer time.
Yeah.
And so we had this one guy, and I've told this story before. We had this one guy. His name was Jim. I wish I knew his last name, but he ran a group, and we just really liked his groups that he ran. And, he'd read from, like, the Reflections book and then talk for a while. And so me and this kid, I wish I could remember this kid's name. We were like, dude, okay, after group today, we're going to hang in this little room until everyone else leaves, and then we're going to close the door, and we're going to ask Jim, like, what do we really have to do?
Yeah.
Like, what's the secret?
Yeah.
Legit.
You're holding out on us, man.
Dude, legit.
I know you're
like,
going to tell me what it
there's
is.
a secret. Because there was only so much he could say working at the detox about his own experience.
Yeah.
Right? So, go through the group. Me and this kid hang back after. Everyone leaves. And he's kind of like, guys, what the hell are you doing? And we're like, Jim, can we talk to you? And he's like, oh, geez. Like, he was a character. So, he's like, yeah. So he shuts the door. And we're like, dude, what is it? What do we have to do in order to stay sober? Like, what's the trick? What do we need to do? And he's like, man, he's just like, shit. He's like, guys, he's like, I can lose my job for saying this to you right now. And we're like, oh my God, here it is. I know, at least I would. I'm like,
Here's the secret.
Like, dude, it is
You're
coming.
Like, can I get a pen and a piece of paper?
Here
We're
it
gonna
is.
get
Like,
it.
dude, I was so excited. And he said, find a sponsor that knows the inside and the outside of the big book and go through the 12 steps. And I'm kind of like, what, dude? What the hell is
This
that?
secret sucks.
Like, honestly, dude. Like,
That's it?
Yeah.
So,
You want to read a book?
so that's what he said.
Not doing it.
And I was just kind of let down. First of all, I didn't know what the big book was. This is
Yeah.
a true story,
But it
right?
still sounded preposterous.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're like, how big is this book?
Dude, and this was probably in like 2000, right?
Would have been shown that book.
So here you
Back in
got
the third edition of the big book.
so you guys are gonna laugh. So walk out of the room.
The big book been written yet?
I go up to my room, I put my papers away, whatever, and I'm like, all right, I'm gonna go find a big book. What is this big book, right?
You grab like an encyclopedia?
Dude, I was looking. He said we have,
in the dictionary.
and the guy said it too. The guy's like, we have one here. It's on the coffee table. So I go back down into the friggin' room, and I'm looking on the coffee table for a big book.
Yeah.
I swear to God, I am not, dude. And I'm like, there is no big book here. What the hell is he talking about? Like, what the hell? Like, it was very, I was almost...
lied to us.
Dude,
The hoodwink.
I almost felt like
It was a very
completely...
small book.
I felt defeated.
Yeah.
Because I'm like, what the hell,
This isn't
dude?
as big as I thought it was.
Jim's gone for the day. There's no big book here. I'm like, what the hell?
You're looking under the sofa.
Had
the
no
coffee
idea.
table.
Had no idea.
Yeah.
Was it actually there though?
I don't know. I didn't know it was the big book of Alcoholics Anonymous. I didn't know that until
Yeah.
months later when I was already out of detox.
Yeah.
Oh, so the
relapsing
book was
again.
never found?
No, dude.
Not
no.
to be found.
And then I was going to AA meetings, NA meetings, and the meetings I went to, the specific meetings at the time
They
were
had regular sized books.
had regular sized books. They didn't like to mention God. I went to some really, I guess now you would call them just different meetings. Like they weren't about the steps or God or anything, and that was just my
More a fellowship based.
Yes.
meeting. Yeah.
Go there and you're complaining about your wife or your husband and my boss. I hate my boss. I wanted to kill him today and like craziness. And that for me, I just couldn't fit in anywhere there.
Yeah.
And I had this idea, and this is where some of that hopelessness really started to come in. Going to these meetings, NA, AA, I'm trying to do as many as I can, every single day. Couldn't get more than 24 to 48 hours sober, ever, outside of any type of facility. And I'm thinking in my head, like, I can't be like this. I can't be going to these meetings every single day. Some of these people go twice a day and still be like miserable. All I saw was miserable people around me at these meetings. Mm-hmm. And it's not like, well, you didn't have your eyes open. No, dude, I was looking and trying to latch on to anyone in there.
You're trying to find Jim.
Dude, trying to find Jim.
Jim?
Exactly.
Yeah.
And one of my experiences at one of these meetings was, it was the first time I'd gone to this meeting. Might have actually been my first experience at AA. I don't recall. But I go into this meeting, and there's double doors when you walk in, right? You've heard this story before. And, I'm wearing a hat because I didn't want people to know who I was, like I'm some friggin' movie star. No one knew who I was anyways, you know what I mean? And I had glasses on anyways, so I looked like a goofball. So I go in, I walk in the door.
Stun of shades.
Like my regular glasses to see.
Spectacles.
Yeah. So the left door was locked. The left door was locked, and the right door was the one people went in from.
Yeah.
So I walk in the right door, and there was a chair right in front of that left door. So I'm like, all right, this is like super far away from everyone else. That's where I'm sitting.
Yeah.
So I park my ass in this seat in front of the door, and I'm just, not saying anything. And this woman walks into the meeting, and... I'm just like looking down because I'm petrified of the world. And I could feel her like kind of standing like over me. And she's like, hey. And I'm like, yep. And she's like, you found the one fucking chair in front of the door. And that's the one you choose to sit at? And I'm like, the door's locked. The door doesn't open. I'm like, sorry. What do you want me to do?
I'm not a fire hazard.
Like, I didn't know what the hell
I will
to
not
say.
catch on fire.
I'm petrified being in this place anyways.
Yeah.
So in my head, I'm like, all right, yep, sorry. I'm like, what a bitch, right?
Definitely.
So they start the meeting, and, this young girl gets up, and she's like, I'm so happy, and, today I want to present, and I didn't know all the lingo yet, but she's like, I want to, what did she say, it's an anniversary, and I have a cake for my sponsor, and, this girl is going on and on for, like, such a long time about how beautiful and marvelous this woman is, and how she changed her life around. She's like, Barbara, will you come up here? And it's that damn bitch that cursed me for sitting in front of that chair at the meeting.
You sat in front of the chair.
In front of the door, I mean.
Oh, okay.
Oh.
30 years or some shit this woman was getting. Like, she was an older woman.
Yeah.
I might be exaggerating. I just don't remember. But it was, And in my head, I'm like, no, I'm out of here.
Yeah.
I am out of here. This is a
Not
joke,
doing it.
dude. See you later. Got up, left. That was one of my first experiences at AA. But to get back on the whole hopelessness thing, the more I went through
I thought you were going to say you found God there or something.
No, definitely. I didn't find
Barbara brought him to Jesus.
Yeah, I didn't find
Did you
God
have any
at the bottom of a
Was there
coffee
cake
pot either.
offered to
No,
you?
dude,
Oh,
I
okay.
bounced. No cake.
No cake.
Nope, nothing.
A cake for you.
So literally, the more I would keep going to these meetings, the more I felt helpless, and that there was no real solution because I wanted to have a family with kids and have a regular job and a dog and not have to worry about, oh, geez, I got to make my second meeting today. Sorry, like that. This could have been me using it as an excuse in my head, but I'm like, I'm never going to do this or get well if that's what I have to do because I want to be normal or have some idea of not having to. Oh shit! I got to go to my meeting.
Well, and I think it's different from wanting to be normal in the sense that like I want to be normal and be able to go out and drink. Then I want to be like able to have a normal life.
It was
right?
just I wanted to have a normal life.
Yeah.
And not have to have my life revolve around the meetings in a sense that like.
Right. I didn't want to be like essentially tied down to
Right.
or, like commit. Like, I don't know.
Well,
the right
and
word.
like so, here's the truth, right? Is like honestly, if that's what I had to do for me to be able to have like a quote unquote normal life, like I would have done that.
Yes.
But I was presented with something different, as were you, right? That has allowed me to not need to do that.
Yeah.
If that is someone's pathway to recovery,
There's nothing wrong
There's
with
nothing
that.
wrong with it.
Right.
It's just it wasn't for me.
Right.
So
and I pictured myself specifically at that same meeting that I always would keep going to because it was in my hometown and I didn't have a car or means to go to any other meeting. So
Yeah.
I was like,
This is it.
No. Nope.
Well, and you characterize all of Alcoholics Anonymous as that.
Yes,
versus
1000%.
and I think that's what a lot of us end up doing in our experience in trying to get sober is like we have this one sort of bad experience and, well, because we're like sort of insane people, we keep repeating that experience.
Right.
Yeah.
And therefore we characterize everything as that.
Right. And I can sit here and try and blame it on like, well, no one ever told me to try different AA meetings or no, that's on me to an extent, I guess, because it is. I didn't know better. I didn't have the wherewithal, and
Well, I'll blame like I always would like blame my intolerance on like a specific person or some situation and then hate the whole program of something. You know what I mean? Whether it was like church or AA or anything. It's
or we'd do it with a job.
Anything,
right?
yeah.
I hate my job because Mitch is not nice to me.
Exactly,
Right.
yeah. It's like I'm finding some person or situation in it that I hated, and then I hate the whole thing.
Yeah, and I think that's, I think a lot of people do that in life, but I think addicts are especially prone to doing those sort of things where, like...
I'm going to find the negative in everything.
Well, it's not even just a negative, but, like, we can also do the other thing where, like, we find one piece of good and, like, we do
In
it
a
a lot
bad
with a
situation?
relationship.
Yeah.
Yes.
Right? A lot with relationships where, like, when we take an honest reflection back at that entire relationship, like, we're holding on to 15 minutes of it because, but really, like, we were in it for 2 years.
Yeah.
And it was good
You're
for
just
15
chasing
days.
one experience.
Yeah,
Right.
exactly. A lot like getting high.
Yeah, exactly. Chasing that
Towards
one
the end,
time that
yeah.
was like good like 10 years ago
Yeah.
with no
Like,
consequences.
that perfect.
Yeah, exactly.
if
That
I can
party
just
I went
find
to with that
that-
chick and like it
Yeah.
was sweet and she was talking to me.
That
and I'm
one
like,
time where like I had that perfect amount of alcohol
Yeah,
and I
it's
was
like-
able to talk to that girl
yeah.
and
Why isn't it like that anymore? Well,
and I
'cause
didn't
you're
throw up
30,
on myself.
Casey, so yeah.
Did you say she was Swedish?
No, I said why can't
Swedish
it be like that all the
fish.
time?
Before
It's
that.
like, well, because you're 30.
Well, before that.
No, you like
No.
Swedish fish.
You were talking about the girl at the party. Did you say she was sweet or Swedish?
Sweet.
Oh, sweet. Okay.
Yeah.
She was an au pair.
She could have been Swedish.
Swedish.
I don't know if I've never met a Swedish girl. Maybe.
I'm sure we'll hear about it someday, Casey.
There's yet
I'll
time.
let you know. I'll call you.
Yeah, I mean,
Call my phone.
Please don't phone me.
There's a lot of hopelessness. I mean, our condition, it's a hopeless condition, right? It took me a while, and I remember the specific time, the specific point, I finally accepted the fact that I was going to die a heroin addict or an opiate addict, right? Because I don't think I had gotten into the heroin yet. Meaning I was the heroin. Meaning I was not. I can't get better. There's no way I can get better.
Yeah.
And you guys are such assholes, but just because I know you know.
Because we're gonna say something.
Now you're gonna start dying laughing. Ooh, can I have a blizzard? And like, so I was working at DQ, right? My father.
I wasn't gonna laugh.
I know. My father had the Dairy Queen in Beverly for years, and when the high school would get out on like a half day, or when it was like nicer weather, all the kids would be walking around in front of the store, going to their practices, everything. And I had this experience where, you know, I'm standing up there and I'm taking a customer and I'm thinking about, you know, how stuck I am, right? And I, you know,
like same cycle.
Yeah, and I'm never gonna get out of this, and this hopelessness and this misery I'm living on a daily basis. No one can help me. No one can fix me.
Which is
I can't fix me, dude. Absolutely horrific.
Yeah.
And I like glanced outside. It's like everything was in like slow motion. I glance outside, and the kids are like, "Yeah," they're throwing the football.
It's like a movie.
A Leave It to Beaver
like,
moment,
dude. And they're all like super happy. And in my head, I'm like, I will never feel happiness like that. I will never feel purity and happiness like that. And as I'm giving the woman her change, I started bawling in the store. And so I had to like run out back.
Yeah.
And I went into the bathroom and I was like washing my face and I'm like, I'm done. I'm going to die before I hit 30 and that's okay. That's okay.
Yeah.
But like I accepted at that point that I'm never going to feel that happiness, that natural happiness. I don't think I had ever felt it. Probably before I started smoking weed is when last time I felt it, at 13 years old or 12 or 13, around there. And, you know, it all hit me at once that I'm really doomed. There's no way out. I'm going to die before I hit 30 years old. And that's it.
Yeah.
And, you know, it was all of it at once was just like this perfect storm of just, man, it was absolute misery. And I went on like that for like another year and a half, more.
That's
Jeez.
real hopelessness. Like no, same thing as
Dude.
like I accepted that fact that I was gonna die a heroin addict, and then like you just keep it's just like lower and lower.
Well,
and lower
I think what people don't realize oftentimes is that I remember listening to this AA speaker tape one time, and this guy was saying something about the fact that like it wasn't the idea that he was going to die that sort of led him into wanting to get into recovery. It was the idea that he was going to keep living the way that he was.
Yeah.
Right? Like it wasn't so much that like my life might be over. It was that like I might actually have to live like this for a while.
Yeah, I wasn't scared of dying.
Like,
I was like scared of the situation I was in. And,
yeah,
like, how
and,
long I was gonna have to be.
Well,
in.
and I think it's funny, right? Because like I asked you about the willingness. What was the willingness like, and you immediately went to the hopelessness, right? Because it's like in utter defeat, we can actually like rise up from it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because like like you can say it is a hopeless condition, but you can also say like it's also not in the same sense because there is hope. There is recovery.
Yes.
There is another side to this thing.
Yep.
So like when you hear hopelessness, you don't want to say like, okay, I'm not going to try.
No.
Right? It's like it's hopeless for me to like continue to try to combat this the same way that I always have.
Right.
Right? Like I need to actually reach out for help. I need to actually accept some help from some other people, and I need to actually I need to actually put some action into it, which is like the missing piece for us a lot of times.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, the point of willingness, I think, it like I said, it went on. It was worse. It was still AA, detox, out, never like any long-term real treatment until, you know, there was a really bad, I did a lot of bad things, but this one kind of just took the cake. And, you know, my parents were on the verge of divorce for multiple years, only because of me.
Yeah.
You know, my sister wouldn't come to the house. She wouldn't bring her kids around me. And finally I was, you know, my father used to fight with my mom because he wanted to call the police and throw me out, and she didn't want to. And finally I got, you know, didn't have any other choices. I was thrown out of the house and not to come back for a long time. And went back in the detox again. And at this point, she could have told me, you know, you're going to hell. And you know that's where you're gonna
hell.
and that's where you're gonna
like,
go.
Yeah, I've been in it. I've been living that.
You're gonna do a year in hell or whatever.
You're gonna stay there.
You're like, can I do 9 months
Dude,
instead?
she could have told me I was going to jail for a year. At that point, I just would have been like,
Yeah,
okay,
yeah, whatever.
Like,
Whatever.
I was
Yeah.
just, I did
Defeated.
not.
Yeah.
Done,
Utter defeated.
dude. Done. And I ended up at a place that introduced me to something that, I mean, I had tried everything, so I had thought. Right? I thought I had tried everything and trying to get sober and different types of medications to help with my anxiety, bipolar, borderline manic depressiveness, you know, all this different stuff, and therapy and psychiatry. And I tried it all, and I was introduced to something that I had never tried. And thankfully, the woman, this had been my second time going to NORCAP, and I had the same... what are they called?
Case
Case manager.
Yeah.
So she's like, "Oh, hey, Ari, you know, how are you?"
Back
and I, you know,
again.
yeah, but I was done, dude. I was
Yeah,
like 130 pounds, trash. And she's like, "You know, Ari, I know your parents had mentioned to me this specific facility." She's like, "But I remember you telling me before that you were, you know, Greek Orthodox and you used to do a lot with the church and you were an altar boy and you really, you know, believed in God and had strong faith." She's like, "How about something that's more along the spiritual lines?" And I was like, "Whatever." Like I did not.
Whatever.
I
lady.
did not care.
Send me.
I
Yeah.
did not care, and
Send it.
she sent me, and that's where I was for the first time introduced to a little piece of that hope.
Yeah.
By, you know, an experience, something being put in front of me that
Yeah.
actually clicked and made sense to me, and you know what I mean. That being, you know, the big book and the 12 steps, the way they're
You found
laid
the
out in
book.
the book. I found finally the
How
book.
big was it?
Dude, you sons of bitches. I was like, that's the big book
Yeah.
right there. Like, this is
My
it.
grandma asked me, she's like, "You guys do that
Dude.
like the blue book, honey?" I was like, "Yeah, Gran, we do the blue book." Yeah.
It's big too.
That's great. Yeah.
My
So-
mom was calling it the blue book last night. She's like, you know, so and so doesn't like the blue book. I was like, why not? She's like, because I don't think he understands it that well.
You're like, well, you know, I didn't get it.
Yeah, I needed somebody to read it to me.
Yeah, exactly.
multiple times.
I
Right.
literally almost didn't go to the treatment center that I went to because it said you had to read a book when you went there.
You're like, what am I in college?
No, I
got kicked out.
let's be honest. I went through kindergarten through college and had never finished an entire book myself.
Absolutely not.
My mom used to read books to me because I refused to read them.
Like when you were in college?
No, not college.
Hey, Ma, I got this.
That's ridiculous. Only high school. Only high school.
Yeah, only high school. Oh, man. Will you read this to me over the phone? I'm just not feeling it.
I'm not gonna do it. Books. Books were good to, you know, return to the bookstore in college. They gave you money back.
Yeah, that was my
Yes,
favorite part.
yeah.
As soon as you could like sell them, I was on that.
I didn't need those books anymore
like, Mom.
suddenly.
Dude, we got a good scam going. We'd go into the bookstore, steal books, walk out, and then go back in and like the next day, and
Yeah.
she'd be like, "Oh, I don't have the receipt," you know. Okay,
Sorry.
that's okay.
Store credit.
Yeah, I'm a
No, they would
student.
give us money back. Dude.
That's
Yeah,
incredible.
cash monies.
Monies.
Monies on monies. And then I'd walk back into the woods at this college and smoke weed outside like a weirdo in the trees.
And you didn't go to the college?
I dropped out of all my classes. We'd bring like a really,
Ari's in the
really
trees.
sick bong
Ari
with like
wearing-
two of my friends, dude.
In the
and,
woods?
Like, eating Ritalin and smoking out of these crazy bongs and
Yeah.
like picking up giant sticks and like fighting each other with
Yeah, I
them.
used to do weird stuff like that.
Dude.
LARPing.
Me and Dave.
Like I was fucking 12 years
I
old.
used to make like out of plastic bottles and stuff. That's got to be good for my health.
Wait, what?
You never use like a plastic like a bottle like that.
To do what with?
Smoke weed out of.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, of course.
Not good for you.
No, it's not. Definitely not.
Don't do that at home, kids.
Don't do it. Irreparable damage has been caused.
As you can see. That's why you haven't grown, dude.
I know. That's crazy.
Shit.
Do you think that's why?
Could be.
It could be. It's a multitude of reasons.
Are your parents tall?
My dad was 5'7". My mom is like 5'1". So
Oh, yeah, you
no,
never- you never stood a chance.
I never. No.
You fell right in the middle.
Yeah, I have no chance.
5'4.5".
What? No, I'm not.
Oh, sorry.
I'm like 5'6", maybe 5'7" with shoes on, depending on how big my heel is. You know.
Get the socks.
I don't have socks on. I got nice ankles, Ari.
Do you shave them ankles?
No, but I have, like, trimmed this, like, a couple random down there. I don't like them.
It's interesting.
Yeah.
You didn't know we were going to be talking about ankle hair,
Hey,
did you?
that's great,
Oh,
dude.
we could talk about a lot of weird stuff. Remember I used to mow your lawn?
I remember you did like once.
No, I mowed it...
A couple times?
Oh, yeah. Every
you?
week.
For how long?
A while.
How many things did you steal from his house?
Did
None.
you ever steal
No.
from me?
No.
Motherfucker, are you lying to me?
I swear to God. Don't you think I would have, made amends for that?
I don't know, dude.
No, I never took anything.
What would you take anyways? What
don't
I didn't
know.
even there was nothing to take.
You stole
What,
your
like,
dog.
Did I have kids back then? I don't even know if I
Yes,
had kids.
I'm pretty sure
I
you
did?
had children. It was literally like 3 years ago.
No, sir. Was
Yes,
it?
it was. Yeah,
Oh.
Nothing like a good lawnmower debate.
maybe 4 years ago. It was more than 3 years ago. It was like 2016, 2017,
Okay.
maybe.
Yeah,
So
four.
it's like 3 or 4 years
Yeah.
ago, dude.
Yeah, whatever.
Math again.
It's not my
Math and
stuff.
dates.
Yeah, dates and math.
So you went to this place, right? And I'm going to fast forward a minute. And you went back there,
Yep.
right? Mm-hmm. And
Won twice.
Oh, you went twice?
this time you really like
Jesus.
Excuse me. It's not COVID.
better not be.
That's sick.
He's been tested, folks.
The 2-week incubation period.
Here we go, dude. Yes,
Dang.
go ahead. Don't even
Incubate.
just
Oh,
ignore
we got to
that.
leave soon. We got a governor stay-at-home order. So you go there a second time. You
Ignore it.
Mike Pence over here. And the fly, it really screwed me up
fly.
here. Where's the swatter?
Don't worry about it. Let's keep going.
Okay.
Someone's got to fucking keep this thing together.
Well, I think we might have to cut this thing and chop this up into a 2-episode sort of thing here.
I would love that.
Yeah, you want to come back?
In all
I would
honesty-
love to.
Oh my God.
In all
Don't
honesty,
record that. Cut that me being going.
No, we'll leave that.
you're
That's oh.
he does not have editorial privileges.
Yeah, you're stuck.
So what we're gonna do, since this is the point in time, like in your recovery journey, that you got
I got it.
in fully into recovery and remained in recovery.
Yeah.
So I think that this is a good stopping point.
Yeah.
All right.
So we'll stop here for tonight. We'll pick up next week.
Hell yeah.
And you'll bring us to now.
Beautiful.
Sound good?
Yeah, bring us up to date.
Thank you, everybody.
All right. Thank you, Casey. Thanks.